Hello, friends and foes of the MMA Huddle. Welcome to the MMA Huddle live chat. As you can see from the description, it is the top 3 submissions of 2020 in the UFC. So I'm super stoked about that. It was good fun just revising, going back to a couple of the fights that happened. Obviously, I knew about the submissions, but it's just good to watch them back due to the fact that we have had so many cards. So thank you all for tuning in. And obviously, I won't jump into the top 3 just yet. I'll obviously give it a moment, but I just want to say I hope everyone at home is safe and sound. Obviously, it's a terrible time that this is all kicking off, and wherever you are in the world or wherever you're tuning in, I implore you all to just please adhere to the request from the government. Be logical, be, hey, how's it going, just talking. I just want to say, please just adhere to the government advice. Do wash your hands. Please be smart about what you do, where you are, and who you're around. And just take care of each other, support each other, especially if you've got people in your family or people who are the high risk health risks. Do just try and help them out a little bit in whatever way you can, whether it'll be going to the shops for them, dropping stuff at their front door if they need to. Just do what you can, folks, to help them out. So I do implore you all to do stuff like that. I'm great, brother. I'm superb. I've actually been put into isolation now, not because I've got anything, because work have sending us to work from home. So Jack and Nakanori might have to sneak in a bit of UFC Fight Pass while I'm doing my work during the day, you know what I mean, on the work laptop and my personal laptop kicking in the fights. But UFC top 3 for me, top 3 submissions so far. Let me know what your thoughts are on the top 3. If you don't have to have a top 3, so to speak. You can have 1 or 2 submissions that kind of went out and stuck to your head that you were super stoked about. That happened so far this year, for whatever reason, performance-wise, or the other fighter you're not a fan of, or you're a big fan of the fighter who got the submission win. So please do let me know who you are a fan of for the top 3 submissions. I'm going to jump in right now, and I'm going to go with, let's kick off with my number 3 pick. Will be a fight that was only just happened behind closed doors, but the performance itself from Charles Oliveira and Kevin Lee was absolutely outstanding. Really, it was fantastic work from Charles Oliveira. He went to another level, in my opinion. I've never known him to do something so good and perform and look that great. So I was absolutely just taken back by his performance. But yeah, it was great to see that from him. So Charles Oliveira looked fantastic. It was a top performance, and he's definitely shown he is in the mix for the 155 division. What he did do in that fight, he just picked apart Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee didn't even look in the fight at any point, really. Even when Kevin Lee got on top of him in the grappling exchanges, he went there because he just even couldn't do much on the feet, which I was surprised about. Me and Will were both taken back that we thought he'd probably have a bit more success on the feet. Yeah, against a good grappling Lee. Yeah, exactly. That was it. Lee is a very good wrestler, and I thought the wrestling would have outpowered the kind of grappling. But if you look at the chain wrestling that Charles Oliveira did, from going from arm bars, triangles to omoplatas, setting up to go to the leg locks to everything, and even in the leg lock exchanges, one of the things with MMA is you've got to realize in MMA you're quite a lot of danger with a leg lock exposure if you're not both on the ground. If your opponent stood up before you and you could have got hit, he showed great fortitude there to persevere through that fight and get the submission win. And to be fair, Kevin just wanted out. Yeah, he did. Kevin just didn't look in the fight at any point, and Kevin Lee just got outclassed, and I was absolutely porn a snuff movie. Yeah, I think I'll leave that one out. Kevin did keep getting his leg caught, especially for the leg lock, which kind of kept it from splitting up. But you can just see the morale of Kevin Lee was out. After the first round, he was never in the fight, really. And I was just super impressed by Charles Oliveira. So he's my number 3 pick for submission. I couldn't put him number 1 because he just keeps winning with submissions, and I thought it was a bit unfair for everyone else. But at the same time, I thought it was a test. That was the test for Charles Oliveira if he deserves to be in that kind of upper echelon in the 155 division, and he mowed down that and he absolutely starched Kevin Lee and put on a stellar performance. Got a great submission win, and the submission itself. He's shown time and time again. You cannot leave your head anywhere for him to get hold of. He just slapped on that guillotine, lovely Marcellatine kind of style almost with the grip, and just locked it in. And with the length of Charles Oliveira for the weight class, even lower down, when he extends out and pulls you with that guillotine, is a lot more pressure on the neck. So kudos to him. I was very impressed. I'm going to go to my number 2 pick for the submission so far of 2020. Again, put your pick down for any submissions that you enjoyed, and please do let me know. I'm going to go with a performance that blew me out of the way as well. Carlos Ferreira against Anthony Pettis. I thought Ferreira just looked phenomenal against Pettis. It was another one where Ferreira was on a good run in general. He'd been doing really well in the 155 division, but again, Pettis is one of those ones where he looked fantastic at 170, kind of looked like he suited 170, wanted to come back down, felt a bit more refreshed. I thought it was a tough test for Ferreira with Pettis, but it was a fight that just Pettis was not even in. Again, kind of like the Charles Oliveira Kevin Lee fight. Ferreira just absolutely cut through Pettis, was able to land good heavy shots. He did the right thing with the thing with the Anthony Pettis is if you can keep him on the back foot and keep the pressure on him, he doesn't like it. He only likes distance. His style of fighting, he likes patience, he likes a gap and a bit of timing so he can time you and to get his shots off. But Ferreira's just in his face, single legs, takedowns, double legs, and the submission attempts, ground and pound. He was superb from start to finish in that fight. And you could see again, Anthony Pettis just kind of thought, I should have stayed at 170. I find it's a bit of a shark tank for Pettis at 155, and I feel like I don't think he's ever going to get that momentum again. He's nowhere. He's not ever going to get to that title fight. He's never going to get to that upper echelon. I really don't think he's ever going to get to the even top 10. Anthony Pettis. I think anyone can absolutely cut through him in that 155 division at the moment. Any guy that's in the top 20 could absolutely mow down Pettis. I think 170 might be a better fit for him for a few more fights if he sticks around. If he ends up with, I don't know how many fights left on his contract. If the UFC feel as value in Anthony Pettis, I don't know. But I thought that Ferreira just looked absolutely fantastic in that fight. He did everything right with the grappling exchanges, keeping it tight, being aggressive, and just really broke down Anthony Pettis. And when he got that choke in, you could just see what was beautiful was he didn't get your standard kind of grip. He got the palm to palm kind of game grip and really cranked it in. And it didn't look like much, but because obviously you couldn't see from the angle on below, when you get that grip and you push the chest, what you're really doing is you're pressing the back of the head and you're pressing everything into the throat and you're really cutting off the pressure here. And it's a great choke to get. I love to get that in on folks. If I ever do get the back, I tend to not go for the back myself. I like to just do kind of side control. It's weird. I always like to go side control for submissions. You kind of head and arm chokes, your key locks, and your Kimuras. That's my cup of tea. But he got a beautiful choke there, and he was in half. No, was he? He didn't even have full back. He didn't have the full back of him as well, which was what was so excellent about it. So yeah, I picked number 2 is Ferreira Pettis. So yeah, my number 3 pick was Oliveira and Lee, and number 2 pick is Ferreira and Pettis. And again, but performances on both guys were outstanding. I thought it would be a tougher test for the pair of them, and they both absolutely shone through there. The pair of them looked absolutely monstrous. And my number 1 pick, for the submission UFC top 3 submissions of 2020 so far for me, I'm going to go here. I'm going to put my neck out. Brett Johns and Tony Gravely. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that submission by Brett. I thought it was a fantastic fight. It was a great battle. A really battle of attrition. The pair of them just grappling exchanges. Brett did fantastic work with getting the takedowns upon Tony, and Tony as well did his part with the takedowns too. The pair of them just were back and forth. I thought Brett Johns did great in the scrambles with getting the grappling exchange. Mershak, yeah, he did have a nice choke win against Win. I thought Gerald's performance, I was really shocked that Mershak won. I thought, you know what, if I'm honest with you, Deron Win should, in theory, have won that fight. Mershak is always slow off the mark in the first round. He's not got the head movement. He's not got the footwork to be quick enough to move out of the way. And Deron Winn has actually got legit, quick, fast hands. He comes with little punches and bundles, and he never really used it enough, in my opinion, to land those overhand strikes, ripping the body, then going upstairs. I was absolutely shocked that Winn didn't do that. But and also, you kind of give honourable mentions to Olenek getting that armbar against Green, but there was a fair few submissions in the whole 2020 so far we've had, where Rodriguez and Means is another one to get. But I think for me, number one is Brett Johns and Gravely, because I love the fact that Brett Johns, he was so patient. You could see he was going for the submissions, but if you look at the chokes he was putting onto Gravely, he wasn't forcing the choke on at any point. It was just really patient. It was just really nice, because if you look in the first round and the second round, when he had the rear leg choking, he knew he didn't have under the neck. He knew it was across the jaw. Now, when you're across the jaw, you can press the jaw in, and it can, in theory, break. You can fight it off, but you're really exerting a lot of effort in the arms, and it's exhausting work. But what Brett Johns did was so well. If you watch it from a technical standpoint, he knew he had control. He knew he had the back. So all he did was he just kept the weight on. So he just made his opponent carry his weight. He had the hold. He just held it in. He didn't put too much squeeze on. He just didn't tire the arms out. And then he was able to throw some ground and pound when they were in that when the grappling exchanges, which is fantastic work, because it shows patience, because Brett had been out for a while. And my worry was, when I was watching the fight, I thought that maybe he might try to rush the finish just to get that finish. But he showed superb kind of patience and confidence just to keep the fight where it was, keep a hold of the fight as well, keep a hold of the opponent. And then obviously when he got the choke in, it was just a case of Gravely just did not or could not stop it. He just didn't have anything to stop the fight, stop the choke with. So I was mightily impressed with that. I thought that when he had hold of that rear naked, and you could just see he didn't even have to put much in it. You could see Gravely just thought, I can't get this win. I'm not going to win the decision. He just gave the choke in the end. But what was beautiful about it was the whole part before that, the setting up, the control, the ground and pound by Brett. He didn't overexert himself with the ground and pound. He was just really methodical, just landing shot after shot, making Gravely work to move while the referee was talking to him, and then eventually just threw a couple of little shots, and Gravely just put his head up and slipped in the rear naked choke. But what was, like I say, the performance was the whole fight of Brett. The kind of whole transitioning on the ground. He works with Ashley Williams, who is a black belt who's fought on Eddie Bravo Invitational. So you can actually watch that stuff on UFC Fight Pass. He is a absolute top draw grappler, and that's where Brett does his training, who he does training with. So he's learning from one of the best around. Have you done Fug Nasty's Twister yet? No, I haven't. I haven't thrown it in. Born a Bear, but Fug Nasty's Twister, yeah. It's getting a Twister in this day and age. If you get a Twister in the UFC, I'm a bit worried about the opponent letting the Twister happen, if that makes sense. I think that what on earth are you doing letting someone get a Twister on you? It's kind of obvious when they've got the hold in the positions. Why you let their arm go over? You should be fighting tooth and nail. You shouldn't really be letting a submission like that get onto. So I was a little bit aggrieved when I watched that. When I see that in the UFC, anything like that happen, it just, what's going on? What's going on when you let a Twister happen on you? You've got to be. I'd be gutted if I was a recipient of a Twister. That would irk me a little bit. But that was a great submission. But when they get someone lands a submission, it's a great one. You know, it is not an easy submission to get. But it was in 2019, to be fair, so I can't technically give it to Bryce Mitchell. I almost forgot his name there. I was going to say, or Fug Nasty. It was in 2019 against. Was it Sales? It was Sales. And do you know what? I think Sales is actually still a very good fighter. I just obviously on the ground side of things, he showed a little bit lack of maturity on the ground. I think on the feet he's got great endurance and great striking speed. I think he's got a lot there for him, Sales. But I've got to go. My top three has to be Oliveira, getting a submission over Lee. That's number 3 for 2020 so far. Then you've got Ferreira and Pettis. The Ferreira performance alone was superb against Pettis, getting a great name in his cap. I have no ground game. I would get caught with Twister. Well, look, Ferreira's submission of Pettis. Yeah, F. Smith 99. Yeah, that's my number 2 pick, my friend. Number 2 is Ferreira's submission of Pettis. I thought the performance alone of Ferreira was absolutely fantastic, and he did fantastic stuff in that fight. But yeah, the Twister game, if it tends to happen from when you lose the back control and you kind of get that one leg, get the truck, and then you can start to work from it from there. But experienced grapplers can kind of see that and feel it coming. So there's tons of escapes. There's so many escapes from that. But yeah, Ferreira and Pettis, that's my number 2 pick. I did pick Brett Johnson Gravely for number 1. I just thought performance-wise, if you look at, I know obviously I'm not talking about, it's sometimes not about the caliber or level of opponents, because in theory you could say then that Pettis is the highest caliber of all those guys I've mentioned, and he should be then, so Ferreira should be number 1. It's sometimes a combination of Mr. Danny Hignett here, the IT whiz. He's been playing Call of Duty all week at work. He has in his IT department. He's been doing nothing. And we had a triangle this year. We nearly had a triangle with Charles Oliveira and Kevin Lee, but he slipped out. Kevin Lee really sneakily as well. If you watch it, he transitioned from a armbar, triangle, and omoplata. But it's just really nice, yeah. Oliveira's submission on Kevin Lee. Yeah, I think that's I'll go down. I put that down as number 3. I just think like I said, Smith, I was saying before in the podcast, I thought Gilbert's defense against Maia was sweet. Yeah, that was getting back to the feet. It's anyone who gets taken down by Maia, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to worry. It's going to be a threat. He is an absolute monster on the ground. And I have to say, Gilbert's got the striking advantage because he. One thing that Damian Maia never evolved with was the striking, even because he knew he had a lot of the guys, they've got the supreme grappling aspect. They throw loose and wild on the feet because they know if it goes to the ground, they're all good on their back, or because they'll sweep, reverse, whatever, all go for submissions. So Gilbert's defense, yeah, that was superb. But yeah, Oliveira's submission, he always gets submissions. He always wins by submission, so I can't let him have the number 1 spot. It's just not fair. The guy just submits everyone. It's not right. He has got it. F. Smith 99. He's got one more fight left on his contract. So yeah. I think Maia's got one. Obviously, he's got one more fight. He said it last year. He said he's got 2 more fights left on his contract, and when he's had those fights done, he's going to actually officially retire. I'm with you. I love Maia. I met him in person. He's such a great guy. He's such a nice person. I would like to see him get a suitable opponent. I don't know who you guys think Damian Maia should have for his last bout and maybe get a chance to get another submission. He can maybe win submission of 2020 all in all. Maybe like a Diego Sanchez would be a good one for Damian Maia. Now, I don't know what everyone else is thinking at home. When you think about opponents, who would you give Damian Maia as a last opponent for his fight? But yeah, I'd love to know everyone else's thoughts on the submission so far of the year. Dan Hardy. I think Dan would probably take a hard pass at that. Because considering how much weight loss Dan has had as well over the few years, he's 155 is his goal. He's not walking around that big. Like I've met him a few times, hanging out with him at the UFC events. He's not walking around that big, and I've talked to him outside of obviously just when we're socializing. 155 is the goal. Countered the jab with that left hook, pure beauty. Yeah. Well, you got to look at Burns. He's been training with Henry Hoof for so long. His striking's got to evolve or grow or develop. It has to. There's no way your striking can't develop with a guy like that. And you look at the guys he's training with: Chandler, Usman. He's training with a ton of guys. Danny Roberts. He's training with so many guys as well at such a high level. He's bound to get that skill set grown. But it was better, BJ. Ryan Hall or Maia? Oh, Killer B, what a nasty question. How dare you? How do you know? You got traditionally, Damian Maia's got to be the probably more pure traditionalist. I think Ryan Hall's got a more evolved kind of jiu-jitsu platform. Who has the better BJJ? That's hard, that, because even though Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the same thing, it's not the same thing. You look at the Gracies; they have a very Kron Gracie and folks like that. And Maia's one of the ones where they have a very standard way of they will get you down. They will have their goal of they're going to go from here, 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 sub. That's it, and that's what they do. And Ryan Hall, he goes, I'm going to go here, but I'm just going to go like that to get to here. He will change his mood and flow depending on what the opponent is thrown at them. Damian Maia is just, he gets you down, he's so good at positional gains. It's insane. Retirement party for both Maia and Cerrone. Cerrone's not a bad one to do, actually. Yeah, that's not a bad one. I think Cerrone might. Would Cerrone want another loss? Because to be honest with you, Cerrone would have to just keep. Cerrone's got an all right submission game on his back. Don't get me wrong, but it's not nothing Damian Maia's going to be able to handle. Charles Oliveira gets thrown in the mix for the jiu-jitsu side of things, and you've got to look at Rodolfo Vieira now in the UFC as a middleweight. That is a level of jiu-jitsu you've got to look out for. Roger Gracie, when he was in the UFC, and obviously prior to that, he was one of the top grapplers that you've seen. If you watch a lot of guys on the grappling aspect of just pure jiu-jitsu tournaments, Roger Gracie's got to be thrown into the mix as well. He cut too much weight down to 185. I met him in Manchester. That guy is enormous. I have no idea how that human being got down to 185. He is just goddamn enormous. But yeah, I would like that. Maia's Cerrone. Who else is there in the 170 division that would be suitable for Maia with a name that's potentially beatable? You don't want to give him an upcomer. They're not going to give him an up-and-comer. They're going to give Damian Maia a suitable opponent. They're going to do him a solid. It's only right that you can give a guy a chance to go out on his shield on his terms. Who would we do? I keep going Diego Sanchez, even though Will would be gutted about Diego Sanchez getting that fight because Will loves Diego. But I love Maia. So, yeah, I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are on that, like maybe from Maia's last match, but also what your thoughts are for the submissions of the year so far in the UFC. I know it's not great, guys, and girls, that the UFC is not happening right now. It's a bit of a pain. You don't want to kill her with one hit. Yeah, you don't want a one punch killer. And I know it's not great. So I'm going, like I said, I did the podcast yesterday. I did a stream yesterday with the fights of the year so far. I'm going to do another one tomorrow with the knockouts. So please come to the table and bring your knockouts. I'm going to do around the same time again tomorrow. So I'm going to do the knockouts, top 3 knockouts, which is a bit harder to choose from because there's more knockouts. So Maia Lawler. Yeah, I don't like even. I know Lawler didn't look good against Colby, but I would not want one of those left hands coming to me. Lawler is still a goddamn absolute savage with power, and he's actually not got a bad takedown defense. To be fair, Lawler, if he really switches, if he turns up, Lawler's actually got a legit good takedown defense. Alan Jouban, yeah, because Alan Jouban's not got the best chin. He's not a bad striker. Jiu-jitsu's. Nate versus Maia. That would be sick, wouldn't it? That would be born bad. That would be a disgustingly fun fight. Because Nate's got not got really. He's got an okay takedown defense, but Maia's got a good kind of inside and outside leg trips. That's what he does. He does he gets the clinch and the grapple, and he'll get the inside leg trips to get you down off the cage. He's good at the drags and stuff like that. So, and Maia's strong. Maia's a big 170 dude. He is a strong guy. But yeah, that would be fun. Because again, you got to throw Nate. You could throw Nate into the mix of the jiu-jitsu side of things. He is an absolute savage on the mat. When he's on the ground, he is a horrible guy to go against. Gosh, yeah, that's a good one. It's a good question, out, folks. I enjoy this one. Damien Maia's last bout, and there's a good few names there. Cerrone, yeah, Lawler, Maia, Alan Joban. No one else is agreeing with me on Sanchez. Then, yeah, gosh, you can't do Mickey Gall, uh, even though he's maybe Chiesa. I would say no to Chiesa. If I'm Maia, I would not want Michael Chiesa because he's looking absolutely superb for 170. Chiesa, he's got the frame for 170. He's got the size. He's got the power. I think he looks absolutely superb for 170. So I'm going to go against that one in that sense. I think that, yeah, I'm going to go with a no to Chiesa. I don't think that's a good one for him because I just think it's a fight he could lose. He could easily lose that fight. I like Sanchez makes sense, but he doesn't deserve a higher fight after his last fight. What do you mean? Did you not watch his breakdown? Border Bear, have you not watched Diego Sanchez on his social media doing the breakdown of the fight? Oh, it's amazing about the punches that he blocked. Oh, it's superb. You've got to watch it. Oh, you can knock a skin off a rice pudding, that lad, but it's a breakdown you've got to watch. He isn't much. Yeah, he is. Yeah, Chiesa is strong. Just talking, he is strong at welterweight, and he suits the. Like I say, he's good. He's strong. He's now got the endurance as well. So he's got that power about him. Just give James Vick. Yeah, re-sign him. Force field blocks, bro. Oh. They do force fields block. If you watch the Sanchez, he talks about the Ferreira blocks where he's doing the whole. It's not Wing Chun. It's what that crazy coach that he has training now, and obviously you would have seen it all on social media anyway. Because they went around all the houses talking about it. And yeah, honestly, go on Diego Sanchez after this, of course. Totally watch this first, and then go to Diego Sanchez social media. But I don't know how far you have to scroll down on it, but it's just good entertainment, to be honest with you, watching it, because he actually numbers, or someone's done it for him, where they've numbered the shots that were blocked or parried, etc. So that how many shots did or didn't land, and it's just a right giggle, if I'm honest with you. I enjoyed watching it, so I do implore you all to go on to social media. Yeah. Well, absolutely, it was devastating. It was a life-changing illegal blow. Yeah, those illegal blows. He looked a mess. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Diego's on another planet, isn't he? And do you know what? You've got to remember, Mike Perry would be funny. Yeah. Yeah, Mike Perry. Yeah, because, he would be. If I was Maia, that's not too bad. Mike Perry's not too bad. Only because Mike Perry's not a technically great fighter in the sense of a grappling aspect. He's got the striking, but if Maia can close it down, yeah, I would definitely be up watching. Yeah, fold, yeah. Right off into the sunset. Perry Sanchez all day. Perry Sanchez would be filth. It would be filth. Yeah. Maia Sanchez or Perry Sanchez. Because you got to think Sanchez hasn't got many fights left in him either, has he? But if you're going to go for some, because Sanchez can't have much left. I don't know how much left is on his contract either. If you're the UFC, do you keep renewing his contract or you just let it run out? And because I think that was one of the reasons why he took the illegal blow, was because he got his win money and it doubled his income, didn't it? I think it went from 50 to 100k. So smart move. He could take Mike. Just talking, he could take him down. I think Mike Perry is not a bad option. It's a good name. It's not a bad option at all. Mike Perry won't have to worry about getting punched because Maia throws strikes, but not to get the strikes landed. He just uses it to get your hands up, to get the grappling exchanges against the cages. It's a very one-dimensional. I did think to myself, maybe who else was there in the welterweight division? Like Neil Magny looked superb in his last fight, to be fair. So I wouldn't obviously do Neil Magny, but there's a handful of guys out there for Maia, like Charles Oliveira though in the 155 division. What do you do with Charles Oliveira? Who do you give him in a 155? Because Charles Oliveira, after the performance against Paul Kevin Lee, you've got to give him an absolute savage in that UFC kind of lightweight division now. There's no one. There's no one there that you can't give him against. There's so many great guys in that division. I can't wait to see his next fight. Do you give Oliveira do you give him Hooker? You could do Hooker, I suppose. That might work. Who else is there? Not, I don't know because they're talking about Gaethje and Cerrone. Sorry, not Cerrone, McGregor. Gaethje and McGregor. So you wouldn't do that way. You wouldn't do that matchup. Who else is there? You could do. Oh no, Hooker wants Poirier, doesn't he? So who else could you do then? Charles Oliveira, Paul Felder. Could you do Charles Oliveira and Paul Felder then? Or maybe Ally Quinty. Yeah, that was another one. I was thinking of. Carlos Condit for Maia. Do you think? Because Carlos Condit, he lost to Maia, didn't he? Didn't it last like 30 seconds? Yeah. I think Felder, Charles Oliveira in UFC Dublin, co-main event if you don't do Felder versus Duffy, because Felder's probably a bit ranked too high for Duffy, but you could do Oliveira, Felder, co-main event for Dublin with, obviously, you've got Darren Till and Whittaker as the main event there. But yeah, Charles Oliveira is looking superb. And with the grappling aspect and the kind of striking side of things, he keeps growing with confidence. I think Charles Oliveira, has realized that if he throws like he does with the striking now, he's going to encourage the grappling aspect like Kevin Lee did. It's going to give you more options. And Felder's not going to go for the takedowns. Felder did stop Charles Oliveira. Was it when Charles Oliveira made his... Yeah, it was when I think it was like Charles Oliveira's first attempt at 155, and he stopped him with the elbows. But you could absolutely revisit that fight. 100% you could revisit it. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with going back to that, because I thought if there's no one else about in that top division, do you give him? Oh gosh, Barboza's. Well, no one knows what's going on with Edson Barboza, do we? He's up in the air. You don't give him Islam Makhachev, Alex? I don't know. Actually, that's a tough one. So I wonder what they're going to do with Charles Oliveira next. The guy's an absolute killer. But yeah, like I said before, the start of the podcast was about the top 3 submissions so far the year. For anyone who's just joined in who hasn't heard yet, like my top 3 was Oliveira and Lee. That was number 3. Ferreira Pettis, number 2. Number 1 for me was Brett Johns against Gravely. I'd love to know what your picks were. Thank you all for listening. Again, I will do another one tomorrow. Again, it's going to be the top 3 knockouts. So join me tomorrow for around the same time. Love to get the chatting again. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as well, okay, for the top 3 knockouts, because there's so many fights there. And I'll do another one again on Friday night as well. So we'll just keep going with the community spirit, keep talking MMA. And I just want to keep things going. So thank you all, every one of you who've joined in there, like Just Talking, F. Smith, Born a Bear, Killer B, all of you guys, love you all. Thank you so much, and I suppose Danny as well. Danny Hignett, I'll give him a little bit of love. Only messing, bro. But yeah, honestly, guys, thank you for joining in. Thank you for the conversation. Join in tomorrow. It's been great doing this, and I love speaking to you all. Stay safe. Look after each other. I'll speak to you all tomorrow.